Welcome back to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. We're brought to you by Pelican, built tough for all situations. Go to pelican.com. Yak Gadget, for all your fine kayak fishing accessory needs. Go to yakgadget.com. Eastport Marina, on the beautiful shores of Dale Hollow Lake. For all your lodging, kayaking, and fishing needs, go to eastport.info.
Now let's get this show started.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Slivka, and today's special guest I have JP. And he hasn't been doing his podcast as of lately. He's been dealing with some personal stuff. I'll let him talk about that when we bring him on. But I just want to give everyone a quick reminder on the fantasy kayak fishing that's available on the Paddle and Fin Network. Make sure you guys get signed up. It goes all year long, and we're doing it in quarters. So you always have a chance to win, even if you get started late. All right, so let's bring in our guests here. How you doing, man?
Hey, what's going on, Chris? How are you?
Good. Like I said, you haven't been doing your podcast lately, but that's because you've been dealing with good things, not bad things, obviously, in the personal life. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, a lot of life changes in the last couple months.
Yep. And you're just about done with pretty much everything that you had going on, right?
Yeah, just about. For the most part, everything is is in livable condition. So, for those who don't know, me and my wife, we purchased a home back in February. So in January, I took a little hiatus from the podcast, just because with going through, getting everything in order for the mortgage, and then, actually moving in, and then, projects left and right around the house to get it to where where we are comfortably living. Actually, this week I'm actually lining up. I'm getting everybody lined up to start doing the podcast again. So right back to it, but had to take a little time to get everything in order. There's a lot of projects, a lot of cool things to get done around the house too. Stuff that we wanted to make. Before we came on, I was just telling you, we built a bar downstairs, and that's actually where I'm going to be doing my recording. But I did an epoxy on the bar top, so yeah. I just did the flood. It's like a 3-step process. You got, if you have wood, you got to sand it down nice and smooth, and then you lay your first coat, second coat, and then the flood is like the very hard stuff. Or when I say hard, it's like that clear coat that goes on top. So yeah, now hopefully it cures the right way, and within 24 hours, be able to use it. Nice.
Yeah, it's always good news, man. All right, so I wanted to have you on today to talk, because you're not, you do tournaments, but you're not like, you don't do them to make money on them or to like chase a trail. You do them more for fun and as leisure, and then you also do a lot of fishing out of the kayak for leisure pleasures, because you said it relieves you from the job that you do. So do you kind of want to talk about what you do for a career for people who don't know?
Sure. Yeah, I'm Chicago fireman, work on the west side of Chicago, work in one of the roughest areas of the city. So we see a lot of stuff. Our car volume is very high. We average right now, we're picking up since the weather is getting warmer. We average anywhere from 20 to 25 runs in a shift. So we are, you're there for 24 hours. You're busy those 24 hours. Again, we're in a very, very poor area. Not a lot of resources, a lot of gangs, a lot of violence, drugs. Unfortunately, the area that I'm in is known as the heroin capital of the world. So we see a lot of our calls had to do with heroin, then you get, the gunshots and all the other stuff that goes along that area. But we also still get fires, so
Yeah.
so still get to be a firefighter and go to fires once in a while. But yeah, it's I love the area that I work in. It keeps me busy. There's always you see something every day on shift. There's something new. There's always lessons to be learned. It's a great place. It's a great spot in the career to learn and grow at. So I've been there in that spot for the last 3 years, and then I was out on the south side of Chicago for the 3 years to that. So 6 years total.
Nice. So, if you could, how does fishing help you as far as breaking away from that? Because the way you explained it before is, because of all that stuff that you do see on there, that's kind of, some of it's like unexplainable things. But and you said that fishing's kind of like your breakaway from that.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the biggest things, and also some things too that I've been doing outside of the podcast. I've been working in collaboration with React, which is a organization founded by the Elwood family, and Ryan Elwood, who was here in hometown Illinois. He was a lieutenant who fortunately took his life to suicide, and a lot of that was factors that came from this job, not having somewhere to put that, expecting to see all the stuff that happens and come home and expecting to live a normal life. So the first start when we break this down is your mental health. And I'm going to break this down in quite a bit of ways. So like I was saying, I was partnering with React and our local brewery here, Horse Thief Hollow, and we were doing a police versus fire, but it's all for charity, and it's to raise awareness for mental health for police and firefighters and first responders. So when you, in any given circumstances in a 24-hour shift, and I hate to use cliches, but sometimes cliches really get the message across. But the cliche of, what your worst nightmare is what we see on a day-to-day basis. I mean, we see the dark side of things that people don't want to hear about, don't want to talk about. They don't want anything to do with, because it scares the living daylights out of them. And we have to go and face that every day. So when you have things such as, and it's going to be pretty morbid, so your discretion advised, but, disentangled bodies, dead babies, when you see multiple people injured from a senseless shooting, people burned to death, in fires, we are supposed to go home to our lives outside of that firehouse and live everything, as a perfect life as that never happened. So when I come home, most of the time it's going to sleep because we were up for 24 hours. But I always try to make it a point, at least within 2 weeks, to go fishing. Because when I'm out fishing in my kayak, it is just me, it's the water, it's fishing. I can take my mind away from what was going on in those last few shifts and put it here and use that to help heal what I've seen, what I've experienced. It fills that gap of chaos that was going on and brings that peace and balance back into my life. So that way, when I'm ready to go, I could go back to my wife. I can go back to the firehouse and have a clear mind. I don't know how religious people are listening, but I do feel my highest connection to God and the power above is when I am out on the water. I feel that's where I'm most connected, and I can free off whatever feelings I've had or whatever thoughts I have and put it out there. That is my church. You know, I don't get to go to church every Sunday, but you know, when I'm out on the water, that is my church 100%. So I hope that gives a little insight, and that's just a taste as to why, you know, fishing, you know, just it helps relieve that stress. And obviously we're going to go on more and more down this rabbit hole. But just before we start going down that rabbit hole, at least that's where we have a level playing ground for people to understand.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know you guys see a ton of stuff. You know, I hear when you live in Chicago, you definitely hear about it more often than anywhere else that you probably live. Just like, so you're saying basically that's where you go to kind of decompress. And do you talk to counselors, or does anybody that you know, is that a way of dealing with it, or is it harder to seek out somebody when you know that they haven't been through what you've been through? Kind of.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have myself, I've personally, you know, we were just talking about this at the fundraising event for the brew off, but you know, it's kind of twofold. So there's a huge stigma because you don't want to go tell your boss or the people who have control of your job that, hey, I need time off, or I need something. I need help because of the situation I'm in. You know, unfortunately, the fire service and the actual city of I shouldn't say the fire service in general, because we are trying to change the culture of the fire service, but the powers that have over the fire department culture and the way we condone our business see otherwise. So if I was, and unfortunately too, it's taking a lot of bad things to happen to individuals while off duty for things to start changing. I hate that that's happened, but we're now seeing, because of more and more, we're starting to get more resources because we've started advocating more. But when you go to your EAP, when you go to the ones that are tied directly to your job, you always run the risk of putting your job in jeopardy. And there, for the longest time, there was nowhere to put that. You know what I'm saying? There was nowhere for you to go and talk to somebody in complete confinement of the situation at hand. So about 8 years ago, Illinois Peer Support Group was created. And that was a group of firefighters, police officers, and paramedics who came throughout the state of Illinois. It was a no-cost counseling, therapy session. It was a resource that you can utilize to help, talk through calls. We have, and it doesn't happen all the time, but it should. We have, I should say almost every other call we go on should have what's called a critical incident stress debriefing, but we don't have the resources for that to happen. So if you don't have the resources, you have to seek out those resources. For the longest time, they were not available. Now, for me, because those resources weren't available early on in my career, when I started when I was 18, I started back in 2010, actually 2009, if you want to count all the training that I had to go through, but 2010 and moving forward, there was no offer of any type of support. There's no mental health. So a lot of the things you saw in your career in your early 20s, early on, even late teens, there was nowhere for you to process that. I remember my first horrific death I had, and it was just, okay, put it somewhere, keep going. And that was going on for the longest time and that was the way I knew how to do it, was just put it away, keep going, put it away, keep going. And now that, there's resources, and it came to the point where me putting stuff away and keep going was becoming way too much. That I actually sought out. I sought the help. I sought the help myself through through a counselor, and she specifically works with police and firefighters. She does not see anybody outside of police and firemen. So she, she was very, very good. Only time I can't see her in person anymore unless I travel to Florida, but she still does virtual sessions, and it was a lot. You find out a lot in your therapy, and it but the answers and the coping comes after that. And now I'm at the point where okay, I understand, and not things are better, there's a lot more clarity, but at the same time she's still there as a resource, as to dose as needed, because there's times where there's calls that still get to you. There's sometimes you could understand why things happen, but you still need someone to talk to, and you don't want to lay all the problems out to your significant other, because again, my wife's my wife, she works in a very rough area too, and she sees the children in that aspect. There's things she can't understand that I do at my job and that I see at my job, just like I don't know all the aspects of her job as well. So, but yeah, so to really answer your question, as of today, there's more outside counseling available where you don't have to go through an EAP and have true confidentiality and trust the things you tell to someone else versus where it was 10 years ago.
So basically, they're more open to people getting help versus how they used to be. Because I know there's a certain time, I don't know how true it is. Obviously, you know more than me, but where getting help or asking to go talk to somebody was like a bad thing.
Yeah, that was 10 years ago. And, let me put it this way, Chris. Unfortunately, still, it takes advocating. So it's taking voices like ours and people who've been affected by it, especially the families who've been affected by first responders who have committed suicide, to get help for us, because that wasn't there. And it still comes with some resiliency from the city and to your employer. It has to go through certain loops in order for it to happen, because the last thing the city or any village or anywhere wants is to be sued by somebody else's actions. And this is a horrible statement, but it's absolutely true. Profits over people.
Oh, yeah.
As much as I love the fire department, I love working for it. They are ran by the city of Chicago, just like anywhere else. They're ran by a municipal complex. So if they are ran by a municipality, the municipality has to make sure that they don't lose their end and their money and get sued for something legally, because if they do and they lose money, now it's we can't offer you this anymore.
Yeah, I get that. So, how do you feel? Obviously, we heard about all the bad and everything. How do you feel like people going fishing in general helps? Like, you explained how it helps you, but how do you feel it helps other people? Because you keep seeing more and more groups come together to do like fishing events, like you're talking about, like what you guys are doing. Why do you feel like fishing helps people with their mental aspect from the job?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll give you a perfect example. Last week we were down at Newton Lake, and it was myself and a couple of guys from the fire department and one of my buddy's brothers, who's a cop in Addison. Now, granted, we were all first responders, but take that aspect out and count us as regular people. I mean, when you are chasing after and smashing your PBs twice in one day, you're catching a boat ton of fish. The bass are just chewing everything you throw at them. It's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. You are completely in the thrill of the moment of fishing, and everything kind of gets blocked out. And you just for those few hours you're out on the water, that's heck. You can't beat that. You can't beat that at all. And I'll tell anybody, that you start making your mind go elsewhere, right? So as a fisherman, it's just as well as I do. The preparation it takes, the time it takes to start scoping out spots, understanding the time it takes to figure out a pattern and start understanding a pattern. And once you put that pattern together, seeing the success that builds off that pattern, from lure selection to line selection to everything else in between. It's literally when you start fishing and catch, and I'll say this every day. I as much as I love fishing, I'll throw a million casts for one big fish versus a dink fest all day. But dinks are fun to catch too. But the preparation and time you put in for the hunt to catch those fish, you're enjoying the fruits of your labor for that. And I think anybody, whether you're a first responder, your everyday Joe, you can't dispel that feeling. It is awesome. It is absolutely awesome.
Yeah. So what we're going. We're at about 20 minutes. What you mentioned a program that you guys are doing. Do you kind of want to go into that and explain that for people who might want to get involved into that? The brews program, we said.
Oh, okay. So
Exactly.
yeah, so that's complete. Yeah. So honestly, it really has nothing to do with fishing, but yeah, I'll absolutely talk about that. So it's at Horse Thief Hollow here on the south side of Chicago. It's on 104th and Western. It's a local brewery, and so with that, actually, how I got involved with this was there was a flyer that was out looking for first responders if they wanted to craft beers. Sure. So I signed up. There was actually 14 firemen and like 30 cops that signed up. And the owner of the brewery, you filled out a little survey. Owner of the brewery handpicked the 7. So I was picked out of this one of the 7, and myself and a few other guys, we are the ones who came up with and for all your beer drinkers, it's a smoked Bock. So Bock style lager with some cherrywood smoke notes in it. So it has it's a malty, smokier taste, but very smooth and rich. The cops did a Heffenweiss. I'm sorry, a Helles. They did a Helles, very easy drinking Pilsner that they created. So Saturday is the release party. And so the cops organization is called Bank the Blue. Bank the Blue, just like React, is the same way. It is a whole different set of people who help and assist officers in counseling, free of charge. There's no money, there's nothing asked to it. And this is their fundraiser to help raise money towards their charity and then help raise money for React as well. So we sell the cans of the beers. They're 2-pack. So you get one of the our beers called Hold the Line, and the cops beers are RDO canceled, request days off canceled. As being from Chicago, you hear that on the news all the time. The cops getting their days off canceled. So you buy the 2-pack of beer. So essentially $1 from each can goes to the foundations, and then and we have, I want to say, 4,500 cans of each. And then we also have 10 kegs that were tapped of each. So 20 kegs and $1 of each. $1 of each glass poured goes to the charities as well.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
That's a good program.
So yeah, and again, it's all at May. I don't know if you know either, but May is Mental Health Awareness Month as well. So
Yep.
This was timed out to be released for that as well.
Okay, that's nice. So is there any other programs that you, before you get into sponsorships, because I know you got them, is there any other programs or anything that you want to plug, just in case there are people out here who are seeking out things to do or ways to help them?
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of different things we have available to us that I kind of have my hands in. The one thing, Chris, you're going to be there for it too, is the Heroes on the Water chapter with Rocktown.
Yep.
So Heroes on the Water, what it is, we get first responders and veterans. We get them out in the kayaks, get them. It's just for them, a way for them to get out and experience kayak fishing. They may not have the opportunities or resources to do it, and we provide that to them. We have that going on May 15th and June 13th or June 12th. Yep. Both are Sundays, and that's going to be at Rocktown State Park. So we have those two going on. And then another event that is in the works right now, myself and the guys I went down to Newton with, we are planning on making just kind of like how the brew-off went with the beers. We are planning on doing a police versus fire fishing tournament. And it's going to be we want it to be open to both kayakers and boaters too. So we are working on permits. We're working on location. But just know we're probably aiming to have it in September. And if we can't do September, then we're going to try to pull for a permit for next year. Try to get it during the pre-spawn. And it's going to be here in Illinois. Even with everything going on with the Department of Natural Resources and their crazy taxation, we still want to keep it in Illinois. And then, again, same thing. We want to do, and it's going to be, it's not just police and firemen doing it. It's open to everybody to participate in this event.
Okay. That's nice. Yeah, I don't really have, you hit on pretty much all the topics I wanted to hit on, and kind of, number one, get awareness out there, and number two, kind of get your perspective on things that you are in. It's better to ask someone who does do it every single day for a living versus someone who doesn't really know about it, just kind of knows from outside sources. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely. No, I got you, Chris. And and that's and again, this is to anybody listening. I have my, we've developed our resources for first responders. There's also resources out there for civilians. And I get it. I get that it can be hard to talk about these situations, and you feel vulnerable. And I've been in that place where I felt vulnerable trying to talk to somebody, but it saved me from going down a very bad path. And for those who are on the verge of, should I not talk to somebody? Should I just put it away and keep dealing with it? You don't have to live with it. You don't have to deal with it. You can talk to somebody and get the help and get it back on track.
Yeah.
There's always never nobody out there who's willing to help you and listen and get you where you need to be.
Yep, I agree. All right, man. We're at 30 minutes. I've been trying to keep these around 30 minutes.
Oh, cool.
So, any sponsors you want to shout out, or anything that you want to shout out that you're doing personally?
Sure, yeah. Give a shout out. Shout out to Paddle and Fin. Shout out to Rocktown Adventures. Shout out to Stretching Lines, Wicked Weights, and TRC Rod Covers.
Nice. It was good talking to you, man.
Yeah, Chris, it's always good.
I can't wait to get out on the water, dude.
Dude, this weather's been horrible here. It's been absolutely horrible. I was like, I'm going to go out today, and it is 33 degrees outside right now.
Yeah,
so,
we can't catch a break, man.
No, we can't. I just might start driving south again.
Yeah.
So.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All right, buddy. Take it easy.
You too.
Talk to you.
Thanks for tuning in to another killer episode here on Paddle and Fin. Be sure to drop a 5-star rating, a thumbs up, or smash that subscribe button on any platform you're listening in on. Be sure to check us out on Waypoint TV, waypointtv.com. Make sure you sign up for the Fantasy Kayak Fishing League at paddleandfin.com/fantasy. You could support this show through Patreon, patreon.com/paddleandfin. Don't forget to check out the website, paddleandfin.com. Catch us on YouTube. If you got a question, comment, or want to see a future guest on the show, be sure to email us at paddleandfin@gmail.com. Shout out to our show supporters, Yak Gadget. You can check out all the fine kayak accessories at yakgadget.com. Pelican Professional. For all your cases, coolers, and lighting needs, go to pelican.com. Rocktown Adventures, your Midwest premier paddle sports destination. Go to rocktownadventures.com. Eastport Marina, the beautiful destination on Dale Hollow Lake. If you're looking for lodging, kayaks, kayak accessories, or anything fishing related on the beautiful Dale Hollow Lake, go to eastport.info. And Jigmasters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to jigmasters.com and fill your tackle boxes today.